Before we go today, Vinny, I've just got to ask you, and I don't want you to yell too loud because we don't want to blow out the speakers or anything, but quick thoughts on the fighting show this weekend, the X Fighting Championships.
Okay. I don't want to go off. I don't want to yell too loud, but we went to the X Fighting show.
You don't have to whisper.
I'm trying very hard to control myself.
All right.
I may be overcompensating.
Okay.
First 4 fights were fine. And this is my, I don't know, 3rd or 4th or 5th indie fighting show I've been to, and they've always been really great because inexperienced fight. You told someone a shitty pro wrestler will go out and have a shitty 15-minute match.
Yeah.
A shitty fighter will get knocked out or tapped out in a minute.
Yeah. Excitement.
Yeah, and that's exciting. That's great.
Sure.
So first 4 fights,
great.
They were all fun. I think one of them went to the second round.
Yeah.
And there was no devastating knockouts, but there were tap outs and there were takedowns and punches flying and kicks flying through the air, and it was all great fun. Then they went to intermission, and in hindsight, this may have been what turned the corner for me, because I swear to God this intermission was at least 45 minutes long.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Oh my God, I just sat there.
Yeah.
I was already in a bad mood by the time the fighting started again. Do we have the lineup here?
Oh my God, I wasn't asking for a complete road report here, but...
All right, the fourth match. Let's see. No, I don't need this. Okay. First match after intermission, I don't remember much of it anyway. I recall it being a boring decision. I could be wrong on that one.
It was Cedric and Earl. Can we just get to the point, Vince, here?
All right. That was the first match after intermission. Second match after intermission... Yeah, God, you've got me worked up and I can't talk. Second match after intermission was a big, fat, heavyweight guy.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know if he took the fight on short notice or what, but it was too heavy.
No, the funny thing was the other guy took the fight on short notice and still killed the big, fat guy.
Beat him up.
Yeah, and the funny thing is...
It was not an exciting beating.
The guy that took the fight on short notice and beat up the other guy, it wasn't really short notice. What happened was his original opponent, the match got canceled because his original opponent was Dan Severn, and a week before the fight, the commission cracked down and said, "You're not experienced enough to get killed by Dan Severn." And so they canceled the fight, and Dan Severn had no opponent.
Yes.
But go on.
Yeah. All right, and then we got to the semi-main event, which was Loden Sincade from Ultimate Fighter 1 against some other person. Casey something, I think.
Casey Escola.
Yeah. This was, without question, the worst fight I've ever seen, the worst sporting event I've ever seen, the worst form of entertainment I've ever seen, and quite possibly just the most, outside of tragedy and actual literal death, the most awful thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Gee, many Christmas.
There was about, well, did Loden get low blowed first? I can't remember Loden getting
I have a complete report, so we can look at it later on. But
well, the point is, Loden's opponent claimed to have been hit in the balls over and over and over again. And it happened once, and he used his full 5-minute allotment, and then he kept fighting. And at that point, I was, well, it sucks he got hit in the balls, but things happen. Then he got hit in the balls again. And once again, 5 minutes passed as he knelt and leaned against the cage. People started to get restless. They started fighting. It went another minute or so.
It's like I am right now.
What's that? Getting restless?
Yes, keep going.
Okay. And I was paying very close attention this time, and Loden got him up the cage and threw a punch to the jaw, and the man went down, claiming a nut shot.
Yeah.
He had never been touched. His balls... There's a virgin joke in here somewhere, but yes, he faked a nut shot. Like a Mexican rudo.
Yeah.
He faked a foul
to
get sympathy from the ref. So he laid down there for it wasn't a full 5 minutes this time, but it was at least 3.
I'm going to check my email. You keep talking.
And then I'm going to keep going then.
Yeah, that's right.
A fourth time, Loden got him up against the cage. Loden Sincade lifted his left knee and struck this man on the rib cage.
You know I can legally remove my credit card debt? Keep going.
Struck him on the rib cage under his arm, and the man grabbed his groin and collapsed to the ground. At this point, myself and hundreds of other people stood up and began to scream. And I thought a riot was going to break out, and I thought I was going to join in that riot. I thought I was, at this point, way back in the, not quite the very back row of the Tacoma Dome, but I was back there. And I was prepared to go charging into the ring and just start swinging. If you're going to claim a nut shot, I'm going to kick it right in the balls. Now, at this point, after four nut shots and about 18 minutes of guys just standing there. Loden Kincaid's corner threw in the towel. Yes, yes, Loden Kincaid.
Yes.
The man who was winning the fight and was being accused of the nut shots, but the guy in the fight was so bored that he threw in the towel.
Oh, my God.
And he was a hero.
Yes.
They interviewed the fucking pussy, the other guy. Everyone booed, and part of me thought this is the greatest heel I've ever seen because I was legit hoping someone would shoot him or something. And then they went to interview Loden, and before he could get a word in, everyone cheered.
Yeah.
Everyone loved Loden because they knew it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
And the ring announcer at the end says, well, nothing was settled here. Hopefully we'll get you two back. And at that point, I leapt to my feet and screamed, no! But, yeah. And then there was the main event, which was another heavyweight fight. It's a heavyweight fight that went to the decision, and if that's not Fedor or Nogueira or Krokop, that pretty much means it sucks.
Wow.
So...
All right, let me give my quick thoughts here.
I have 3 more things to say.
Oh, my God, dude.
Dude, you brought it up, bitch.
All right.
The ring announcer almost saved the show because during this whole ball-hitting festival, he had 3 great lines. I think I can remember them all. One was during one of the breaks as the guy was rocking on his back, they started playing music, and the ring announcer says, I'd like to thank the DJ for playing the songs louder, trying to cover up the chance of bullshit. And that was funny. And he had 2 more, and I forget them. So if I remember them all, I will cut you off.
All right.
Without warning. But
all right. Here's what I got to say. First, I have a quick plug for the site. I have a complete review of this show in the newsletter this week. And you can read the newsletter by becoming a member. And sign up now. I'm just going to make this short and sweet. 99 cents for the
One of the
month.
funny things he said.
You jackass. Hold on a second.
I told you I had to cut you off that warning.
No, hold on. Stop.
No. Accidental low blows are no fun for anyone.
Yes. Ha, ha, ha.
All
So
right,
anyway.
there's 2. I'm going to try to remember the other one.
Do you want me to just read it to you? Do you want me to get out the
if you
report
got
right
it.
now?
Yeah, if you got it, go ahead.
How about you just shut up and let me give my review here
I'm going to sit here and think about it.
You're going to fail, Vince, like you always do.
That's quite possible.
Now listen. Here's the problem you had, dude. Look at me. Pay attention. Forget the fucking line. Here's the problem you had. You were way the hell up in the cheap seats. That's not my fault. The first 4 fights were great. We have seen UFCs and Prides where there were no good fights.
That's fair.
All right? Now, the first 4 fights were good. There were only 4 other fights. And as much as you might have hated that Loden Kincaid fight, you'll never forget it. It is epic. It is like years later we look back and go, you know, we still laugh about Gilles Arsene from France, who had the worst fight of all time.
No, this is worse.
I don't know, dude.
Oh,
this at least had excitement.
No.
This had a near riot.
At least Gilles Arsene from France had comedy.
Oh, this had different kind of comedy.
I laughed
This had
at
the
Gilles
comedy of
Arsene
a
from France.
fighter playing Mexican rudo. And to make a... I'm not going to say it again. I got to cut myself off from that line. I was sitting like octagon side. I was going to say ringside.
You were much closer than us, and you got it for free.
I was octagon side, and I was surrounded by fighters and their families. And if you think that you were ready to join into a riot, everybody around me was ready to join into a riot. And you know who would have got stomped and killed? Me.
And that makes this a good show?
This made this an exciting show. When this show was over, I left with a feeling that I had had a hell of a fun time.
I see.
I don't give a shit what you guys up in the cheap seats thought. I had a great fun time because I got to listen to all the fighters freaking out. I got to listen to all the fighters yelling at the other fighters. I got to see Josh Barnett flipping his wig because his fighters weren't doing well. I got to almost die because I really thought there was going to be a riot and I would be stomped and killed.
I thought it was going to be a riot too.
Oh, God. And if you would have come out swinging, it would have been bad news. But
I would have been killed.
all right, overall, I just want to say that it was not quite as bad as Vince said it was because we saw a good half a show. And yes, the second half sucked, but we saw a good first half. And in addition, Vince...
Oh, he's reaching for something.
I'm reaching for something. Don't forget.
This is surround sound, folks.
Don't forget.
Okay, this is not part of the show. This happened after the show.
After the show, we ran into Dan the Beast Severn. And we had a long talk with Dan, which all of this is in the newsletter this week. A complete recap of this show, a complete recap of everything from ringside, the near-death experience and everything like that, and also the conversation we had with Dan Severn. And I would like to spoil part of it right here. At the end of this conversation, we were leaving, and Dan goes, "Bryan, come here." And he called me back, and I thought, oh, man, I'm in trouble. And he said, "You do these contests on your site, right? Give away stuff." And I said, "Yeah, we do contests. We give away stuff." on the members area. And he was like, hey, let me sign some photographs here for you. So he signed 4 photographs, all right? I'm going to show these to Vince and get his reaction. We've got a photo of Dan Severn in a gi.
He signed it, Dan Severn, the Beast, ! And Beast is underlined.
Yes. So we got this picture. These are all going to be given away on the site, by the way, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. We've also got this one here.
This appears to be an actor's mugshot.
This is Dan's
a headshot.
Acting headshot, it appears. Black and white.
Again, Dan Severn, the Beast, and he's there looking
as clean cut as a man can possibly look.
Is a slightly burlier Tom Selleck.
Yes, no man is burlier than Dan Severn. Then we've got this one. Dan Severn.
I haven't seen this one before.
Dan Severn, NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's got the belt on, black trunks, blue boots.
Not even, I guess they're boots, but they look more like wrestling shoes. He's got the thickest black trunks you ever saw, just 1924 trunks and the old NWA belt, and that is a strongman photo.
And you know what this looks like is if you've ever seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger Book of Bodybuilding, they've got an insert in the middle with color photos of famous bodybuilders, and he looks like a man posing out of 1950, doesn't he?
Just a thick, barrel-chested, burly, mustachioed dude.
He's a man who's lifted a lot of weights in his life to earn this physique. This is an awesome picture, which we're also going to give away in the members area. And finally, I can't even show this one to Vince yet. This is my favorite picture. And this one, I don't care what anyone says, I'm not giving away. This is Dan Severn.
It's the caption. It's the best part.
I'm going to read it. This is Dan Severn looking so proudly at the camera. He's got the NWA title on one shoulder, a UFC championship belt over the other shoulder, 2 championship belts around his waist. He's wearing plain black trunks, and the caption says, Dan the Beast Severn, world record holder of 13 championship belts. And as God is my witness, I am framing this picture, and I'm going to put it right here behind me next to where the Brian Alvarez Super Chico oil painting is going to go. It is, look at that picture.
Art, that's all I can say.
This is a picture out of 1905, and it is so awesome that I'm keeping it. But, yeah, the rest of these we're all going to give away, because what Dan did was Dan wrote a trivia question. And I'm not going to reveal that trivia question here. It's going to be on our members-only bulletin board. But the contest starts tomorrow. I'm going to post the question, PM me the answer, and we will choose 3 lucky winners to win one of these 3 autographed photos of Dan the Beast Severn. So that's the final plug for today. We've got contests. We've got the audio shows. Disco Inferno is going to be on today talking about his duck.
Ask him about the Raven match.
I'll ask him about the Raven match, which was Vince's favorite match of all time.
I think it was, actually.
And we've got the newsletter, which will have a complete rundown of this show, the conversation with Dan, and, of course, the latest on Jim Ross. So check it out. 99 cents, kids. Get you a full month.
Yeah.
How's that when you throw in one final plug about how great the site was? Thanks for failing.
If you read the newsletter this week, I had a tape review that was very unusual.
That's right. It has actually a very funny tape review. And what about Lucha? Is it full of hate?
Did you read it yet?
No, I didn't get it.
What? Oh.
You didn't email it to me. That's why I sent you a text going, don't forget Lucha.
It is shockingly not full of hate considering I sat through 3 hours of AAA.